I start with a bitmap image at about 300 dpi, put into Illustrator. I prefer using Illustrator for the initial inking because it is not as erratic with its smoothing, and when I zoom in it does not increase or decrease the size of the line. I use varied line widths and use a very high pen pressure so I can get the most out of those lines. I copy-paste the image from Illustrator into Flash, break apart the image, and then start adding the black fills and the smaller detail lines. I copy and paste the image to a new layer underneath so I can start filling in the gaps with color and doing all the flood fill colors. I copied and pasted the original line art into another layer above the color layer and start blocking off area in order to add shading. I export two copies of the image into Photoshop, one without the shading layer and one without the colored layer. I paste the shaded image into a layer above the colored one, set the layer properties to multiply, and then turn down the opacity. I create a new overlay layer and go over most of the shaded area with a very large, very low flow airbrush of pure black. I do the same with white on the lighter edges. Then create a new screen layer for the lens flare. I open an image file with a texture such as parchment paper, set that to grayscale, and copy in copies of it until the space is filled. Then I merge down the layers and remove the seams in the pattern with a healing brush. I change the texture layer to multiply and adjust the opacity as needed. Then I finish off with a blue layer with very, very low opacity and overlay. And then another screen layer to add blue highlights to the lights.